Warm greetings to you from Swift Current. This is the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. Swift Current Curling Club in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Our feature matchup, women's quarterfinals, Kate Cameron taking on Satsuki Fujisawa. Should be an absolute hummer. Hans Frauenlob along with Sam Steep. Here's Team Cameron. Kenzie Elias playing at lead. Brianna Cullen playing at second stone. Taylor McDonald playing at third. Kate Cameron throwing the fourth stones. And for Team Fujisawa, Yorika Yoshida at lead. Yumi Suzuki at second. Shinami Yoshida at third. And Satsuki Fujisawa the skip. Team Cameron throwing the red stones. Team Fujisawa throwing the yellow stones. Team Cameron with last rock here in the first end.
Yeah, should be an incredible game. Both teams winning the B-side qualifier, so they did have to draw for Hammer.
Team Cameron winning that three-game last stone draw. Putting hers on the lid.
Yep, winning that draw already gives you, at the top level, about a 55% chance of winning. You gain 5% rate by just winning that draw to the button.
Hammer matters.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Depending on the level of curling you play in juniors, if you win the hammer, you go all the way up to 60% chance of winning. So obviously it depends on the level of the competition, this being some of the best teams in the world.
Pretty straight up and down here in the first. Going into the rings, and Kate deciding she doesn't really want to mix it up. So happy to trade hits on stones in the rings here in the first.
Yeah, get to the even side of the scoreboard early. It's never too early to think about it.
Yeah, it comes at you fast in an 8-in game, doesn't it, Sam?
Yeah, it does. It's a good sweep just to get this rock to stay in the rings. We do have our other women's quarterfinals on at the same time. Xana Schwaller playing Kayla McMillan. Kayla Skrlik playing Michelle Inglot. And Corinne Brown playing Delaney Strauss.
Those are your quarterfinalists here at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown.
There is a men's A qualifier final on as well. Team Dunstone are playing Team Clyder. If you were a little bit confused, our women's playoffs are on Sunday, where our men's playoffs do not start until tomorrow.
Team Fujisawa, they got fans worldwide. Shinami Yoshida, athlete in our sport with the greatest social media following by far. And looking at the stream, Sam, seems there are a lot of people up in the middle of the night in Japan following their team. Yeah, but such a dedicated fan base.
Yeah, I had the privilege of commentating one of their qualifier games, and had obviously just a ton of fans in the chat. Very fun to see. I think running a big event in Japan would be a hit. It would be sold out very quickly.
Yes, curling interest in Japan really, really strong, driven by participation at the Olympic level and the performance of Japanese teams there. This Fujisawa team has medaled in a Winter Olympic Games.
Yeah, they've been together for quite, feels like a long time, and they execute at such a high level and have fun at the same time. They're always smiling, and it's just super fun to watch.
Team Cameron leaving that one short of the rings might have been tempting. for Fujisawa to maybe try for a force, but she's not having any of that. We'll just try to rip the corner.
Yeah, just one too many shots left for Team Cameron. If you draw around a corner guard, you could easily give up 2 or 3.
Very strong peel there. Shinami Yoshida. Interesting. I've covered a lot of games involving Japanese teams over the years, Sam, and one consistent element comes through every time when you're talking with Japanese teams about their performance and how they think they can improve. And one thing they come back to every single time is communications.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that communicating separates the Tier 2 and Tier 1 curlers in the world. Obviously, they do nonstop talk. When you watch them live, it's just super fun to watch because it's like not even a breath sometimes. It's just constant communication and nothing gets miscommunicated for the most part. Though we do see a flash early in this game.
Yes, we do. The dreaded flash, and all of a sudden Kate Cameron with a gift she wasn't expecting, a chance to split the house. Only possible saver for Team Fujisawa is that stone in the back 12 is so deep. It's going to be really tough for Kate to get separation and not leave some kind of a cross-house double. It's going to have to go very deep or very high, one or the other. Well, it's not going to be high. This one's going to be at least a T.
Yeah, pretty sets up a... I'd have to see the overhead, but it looks like a pretty natural half-rock double.
You can see Yoshida and Fujisawa looking at those angles. They can certainly close it up.
Yeah, I think how much weight she can throw, put the broom where you want to hit it, and roll basically right beside it. If not, make the double.
Nami patting the ice in front of the second target rock, perhaps indicating that they think maybe it's a bit of an awkward angle to contemplate making the double, and they really maybe prefer to roll in front of the second stone. But that's a yawning gulf. That's a 7-foot gap between those rocks. Here it comes. Satsuki Fujisawa trying to go cross house.
Anything but hitting rolling out. They want to stick around.
They are going to go underneath, however. Catching it a bit thin, so that's one opportunity to escape that is gone for Team Fujisawa.
Yeah, the reason why I say that is even if they nosed and then Team Cameron noses, you have a pretty natural quarter rock double to get out of this end. Obviously, a couple back-to-back misses, 1-0, 150% there by Team Fujisawa. Looking like Team Cameron gets that soft deuce is what I call it. They didn't mean to get it, but they got a miss out of the other team, and any team will take a free 2 points at this level.
Well, especially right out of the gate. It's a fantastic way to start a game if you can get that kind of no pressure too. Saw Kate pat the front 12 this time, so I think she'd like to leave this one quite a bit higher in the rings.
If you get it just biting, you basically force Team Fujisawa to play a slash double, which almost guarantees at least a blank. Put it in the same spot. I don't think Fujisawa will make the same mistake twice. She'll be a lot closer on the double, so very important to keep a good angle.
Kate with the classic Manitoba delivery. Just looking for this one to be biting just front 8. It's going to slide a little bit deeper though, and we'll set up a finish. Double opportunity, but certainly an opportunity for Fujisawa to roll in front of the second rock anyways and make it awkward for Kate to score a pair.
Yeah, it's about an eighth of a stone. Could get away with close to a quarter, but I think it's a little bit thinner than that.
Yeah, really almost the same amount of contact that she had on her first one.
It would be awfully close, yeah.
Eighth of a rock too thin on the last one because of the angle, but eighth of a rock here might just make the shot. So big moment early here, first end. Satsuki Fujisawa trying to bail her team out. Bail herself out, really. Half miss on her first shot, trying to go cross house, trying to remove two.
Needs to hit the stone first.
Golly, took its time. More like a 16th of a rock there, my gosh. 3 half misses from Team Fujisawa here in the first end, and it's hit the paint for Kate Cameron to put a 2 on the board.
I didn't want to jinx them all day this morning and yesterday. We saw those inside out peel weights not curl at all, and they looked like they had a lot of room. It was a little scary, but does eliminate 1 stone.
We've been seeing draws really bite and finish, but you're right, Sam, when the weight gets stepped up like that, not a lot of movement. Final rock of the first end. Chance for Kate Cameron to break on top here in this quarterfinal. Choosing to throw down the same path that she just threw, and that's not surprising. Needs a piece of the rings to score 2.
Sweepers don't look that panicked.
Nope, they look pretty content, and this one will come to rest just on the tee line. Lovely shot from Kate Cameron. And so it is a 2 for Team Cameron, and they take the early lead here in this women's quarterfinal. Cameron 2, Fujisawa no score. They will have hammer coming into the second. Second end is underway here at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. It's the women's quarterfinal. Kate Cameron taking on Satsuki Fujisawa. Cameron with a pair in the first. Fujisawa with the hammer here in end number 2. Hans Frauenlob here with Sam Steep. Some uncharacteristic half shots from Team Fujisawa in the first, and this corner guard is going over into the weeds and almost on the verge of being unusable.
Yeah, just how much it curls. You can throw, we saw it with Team Epping this morning. You can throw backline hack and hit a rock that's fully buried out of the rings. So that will be very hard to use. Definitely early on in this game, Team Cameron has looked stronger. Obviously, it's only the second end, but
Mackenzie Elias. Bring the play back here into the center area. Good sweep. The sweepers know if they can get it to the center line, they're going to cover the shooter. Just about do that. Satsuki looks at it, said, is that in the no tick zone? I'm not sure. Do I see a gap?
For some of you that
variation.
Yeah, sorry. For some of you that don't know if it's on the center line, they can't take it off of it. Both teams need to agree whether it's on or off. And if they don't, there is a measuring device.
So 5 rock free guard zone, no tick when the guard is on the center line. There's a good close-up look at it there, bit of reflection off the ice surface, but it does look like it's got the tiniest piece of the line from that angle.
Yeah,
thanks team, appreciate that.
On. Yeah, great camera work.
It's important to know because if you're planning a come around, you want to get near that guard. Could dictate your shot choice, knowing if it's on or if it's off.
Carve for this rock early.
Sweeping hard for curl. Yumi Suzuki, such an effective brusher. one of the smaller athletes in the game, but what technique she has with brush in hand.
She's basically jumping off of the ice to get as much weight as possible, but still keeping fast repetitions. That is their secret to sweeping. Obviously, not being the biggest athletes in the world, using the broom technique the best of their ability.
So that great nose freeze forces Kate Cameron to come down and try to rearrange, but this one is going to be pacey and it's going to scoot through and right through the rings. So now Team Fujisawa with something going.
Yeah, there was a 0 in the first end that gave Team Cameron the ability to take 2, and that might be the 0 Fujisawa needed to tie this game up.
Really puzzled expression from Brianna Cullen saying, was it that heavy? Early in the game, you'd find little patches that just run a little bit quicker than you're expecting sometimes as the ice settles in.
Yeah, they should have had a decent idea because they would have gotten a hog-to-hog time from Fujisawa. But, as we say that, Fujisawa's next route comes deep.
Right down the Grease Lightning track. That one's going to go into the back 8 foot, so I'm calling a bit of an audible there. Deciding because it was a little heavier than expected.
Definitely
around the pile.
Definitely a missed opportunity there. As coaches, you talk a lot about the make after miss stat. Really important to put as much pressure on the other team as possible. Missed opportunity for Fujisawa there.
And that's a very astute point, Sam, especially at this level when you know you're not expecting to see very many misses from your opponent. So on those rare opportunities when you get one, punishing it is really important. Good adjustment on the weight. Still a wider track. It's just going to settle, not quite corner frozen, but playable now, and actually making it possibly a little bit more playable for Fujisawa in the process. She can throw a little bit of weight at nose on the red without any risk to herself. And she's indicating back 12, back line weight. And Yumi Suzuki says, I can see just about all of it, Skipper. Let me blast it. Do you think they're looking just at backline weight, though, Sam? Is that what you're thinking as well?
Yeah, I think backline weight's perfect. I think if they could see another half an inch of a rock, you'd probably see the big weight hit and sit 3. But that rock just curling.
Trying to keep that forward momentum here as the stone really starts to break. Going to make the hit, going to get a little inside flop, push the red stone off the 4 foot. Not enough momentum to push the shot rock off the pin, however. We do think red is still counting 1, but it is in a mighty pile of danger right now with 2 yellow stones right in front of it, Sam.
Yeah, unfortunately that overcurl. They needed to keep the angle to make the yellow lined up a little bit better. Now that it overcurled, it does give Team Cameron an opportunity to get another red one in the 4 foot, really shrink that scoring area.
Some consolation for Team Fujisawa, even though it did overcurl. It does make it promotable on the outturn side, although from an angle. But Team Cameron trying to neutralize that by nose freezing.
Pretty good outcome from Taylor.
Talking about freezing another one. Would you ever think about trying to pinball the yellow on the top of the 4 foot on the outturn side and maybe catch the red?
Oof.
Maybe not yet.
Yeah, that red. I mean, your problem stone is the red that's just finished in the top 4 foot. that's going to be your issue. Double tap, be shot rock, and sit third, fourth would be a pretty good outcome.
So in your mind, Sam, is the key thing here to jiggle the front red, or is it to unlock the back red? What's the most important thing in your mind in this shot?
Unlocking the back one for sure, and trying to sit third, fourth. Like, you could probably throw a backline hack and make it. But then they just motioned on the yellow. But yeah, the tap is the call, and yeah, most importantly, you want to be shot stone and open up that button for your next shot.
Well, we saw how much it curls with backline weight. Last attempt down this path with backline actually over curled. Perfect contact point on that nose red. Sam, do you think it's probably 3/4 across with hackish?
Yeah, I mean, we're nitpicking, I think, right on the nose or just cross the face a little bit would be perfect.
Shinami Yoshida. And this one's making a move early. First job is get around that center guard. That's going to be close. They get it by, but is it going to over curl? It's going to lose momentum on the red. Yep, not enough to move the shot rock. Does reposition the Yellowstone to the tee line, but improves the situation very slightly for Team Fujisawa. Lots of danger here for Team Cameron. Fujisawa's got the hammer, and lots of yellows accumulated in and around that forefoot, but well, has it moved yellow into shot position? It's kind of hard to tell from the overhead. There was a slight movement on the backstone. Angle's not great for Team Cameron as far as the front red goes now. Any contact on the front yellow. It's going to push red onto yellow. Push the red to the right as we look at it on the overhead.
Yeah,
intriguing
situation. Yeah, it is. My first instinct was Kate's, make the yellow double, sit 3 in the forefoot, or at least change the angle a bit.
But really, Sam, aren't we talking about a side jam here? If she comes in off the stone, sitting on the tee line on the edge of the forefoot, makes it in the pocket, kind of feels to me like the yellow's going to pop the 2 reds in both directions a little bit, it feels to me.
It does, but it will open up that button and leave your red that's in the top 4 in a really good position. All you need to do is move this yellow on the top button over almost a whole rock, and your angles are really good.
Well, we're about to find out. All of our speculation, now we're going to see it for real. Kate's giving it a try. Taylor McDonald's throwing it. Looking for some action off the stone on the tee line. There's the hit, there's the flop, there's a little nudge, there's a little reposition. That's an improvement, moved it kind of a half a rock. So improved the angle, but still that yellow rock on the pin doesn't feel like it's going anywhere fast. It is under threat from that stone just delivered by Taylor on the chip. Tsunami saying, well, maybe just blow everything up, run the front, and just...
Well, right now, Team Fujisawa is in danger of giving up a steal of multiple. Those reds are in pretty good spots. They need to make this red double and scooch over to the button side.
So to move 2 stones, Sam, she's probably going to need to throw hack, I would think.
Backline to hack and just move that, change the angles of the red in the back and nudge that other red out of the forefoot. It'd be perfect.
So key shot coming up here for Shinami Yoshida. Need to skinny the guard, get to nose, move 2 reds, and leave her own sitting partly covered in the process if she can. Yuriki Yoshida said that's a little up. Yumi Suzuki keeping the early sweep on, knowing how much it can snap. Well clear of the guard, gets motion, gets 2 reds in motion.
Yikes.
But leaves that redstone full forefoot and setting up a much more natural looking double takeout potential for Kate Cameron.
Yeah, make this double. You're going to be sitting 2 right on top of the button. The yellow does jam on the red in the side forefoot, but probably won't come into play.
See from Kate's brush position the flight plan. In about 1/3 of that top stone, and it is almost a natural angle.
Yeah, and they're trying to cross the face to keep it even higher, which is nice. They'll be able to go right into the side of this yellow, sit 2 right on top of the button. You want to hit it just a bit less than where the broom is.
I saw Kate make a little touch on that redstone behind as well, so she's also thinking there's a direct path, and if it's a little thin, you can even clip the back red and do a bit of sideways around the horn stuff, although she doesn't really want to do that.
Yeah, it's a totally opposite shot, but I imagine she'll be really close. This is in her wheelhouse.
Reset after seeing a bit of debris in the slide path. Fujisawa and Yoshida looking on with concern, and you can understand why. Double takeout attempt on its way for Kate Cameron. Positive release. Sweeper's not laying a brush to it yet. This one's got some curling to do. And you got to say, not a great throw from Kate there. Just stepped up the weight and looked full on release.
Yeah, they basically just gave Team Fujisawa a get out of jail free card. They got rid of the backing. No in-offs for Team Cameron to get to shot stone right now. And an opportunity even now to score 2.
Yeah, biting the back of the button gets you second shot, and they are looking at making a play on that stone in the back forefoot. Hit, roll inside, get second shot, and more importantly, kind of leave yourself a catcher. Give yourself backing in the process.
Yeah, basically anywhere that doesn't leave an easy double. But yeah, if you could bite back button. Whether that's the hit and roll or a draw. Pretty precise, but still looks a lot better than 1 shot ago.
Yeah, I was just going to say, considering how things were looking about 90 seconds ago, pressure has dropped quite a lot, but hasn't gone completely for Team Fujisawa. Team Loco Salare, as they're known in their home country of Japan. See that on their uniforms. Crazy Sunshine.
It's a good name for a team that always smiles.
Absolutely.
Update you on the other games. Michelle Inglot takes 3 in the second to go up 3-1 over Team Skrillex. Kayla McMillan steals one in the first over Xana Schwaller, goes up 1-0, and Corinne Brown steals one in the first over Delaney, or takes one in the first with Hammer. Goes up 1-0 over Delaney Strauss.
Does look to be the draw for Satsuki Fujisawa.
Yeah, I think the hit you would have rolled just a little bit too deep. The draw is the only chance you can sit second shot.
Yoshida and Suzuki on the brush. And this more like a straight guard than a draw attempt.
I think them realizing if they drew that Kate Cameron would play the hack waiter and be shot stone. They had to guard to make sure they don't give up a steal. Giving up a steal would be make the comeback a lot harder, even though it's only the second end.
So trying to lock in the point. Worry about the second point later as a bonus rather than gamble now. And that's the turn of Kate Cameron to decide how much risk she wants to take.
Yeah, they're never going to get shot stone unless they played a run back. So they're basically discussing how do they complete the force. Because right now Team Fujisawa has 2 draws to the edge of the button for their 2 points. So they can't take away both.
Choosing to take away that in-turn path with Satsuki just through, although it looks to me, if you're looking at it from the hack end, tiny amounts of button available on either side, but a little bit more available on the outturn side for me. But as you said, Sam, can't guard them both. She's getting some input from her teammates down there in the hack.
Yeah.
Never like to see that.
Yeah, just making sure that they know exactly where they want this stone. Taking away the path that Fujisawa just threw. Making her throw a brand new path for her draw to the button for 2.
Yeah, and in fairness to Team Cameron, it's probably not a shot discussion. It's more like a weight discussion because this is a newish track. So locking in a weight choice.
Yeah, second end, these corner guards, especially as a skip, isn't the easiest shot.
Colin and Elias guiding this down.
Trying to get some curl out of it.
Yeah, it's going to at least nudge that center. So it does block the path on the in-turn side, although Shinami says we could still get there, and they could, but
you absolutely could.
Almost immediately saying, no, let's play the out. Yoshida's showing us with her brush. That's where we got to go.
They do have a little bit more space on this side as well, fractionally.
Yeah, I think so too. You know it's going to come in sideways in the last 4 or 5 feet of the trip. So you're thinking T-line, you're thinking draw the button weight, and you trust your sweepers.
Yeah, big momentum shot here to tie the game. Needs a piece of the button.
Shots on its way from Satsuki Fujisawa. Line looks great, but it looks maybe a smidge warm. Is it going to stop? No, it's going to be about 4 feet heavy. Line was great, but it's a single point and a good force for Kate Cameron. So 1 on the board for Team Fujisawa here in this quarterfinal at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. They're on the board. Cameron will take the hammer into the third, leading it 2-1. Lead rocks at the third end in this quarterfinal at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. Kate Cameron versus Satsuki Fujisawa. Center guard up from Yurika Yoshida. An interesting shot choice in return from Kate Cameron. Declining to mix it up with a corner guard of her own. Asks Mackenzie Elias to draw the ring in the back ring.
Yeah, I love it.
Options open.
Yeah, I love that call. And you're on an odd end. Play the scoreboard. You know that you can blank this end, be up 1 with hammer and 4. And you knew Team Fujisawa was probably not going to hit a rock in the back 12 foot.
This is the second stone of the end for Yurika Yoshida. Perfectly lined up behind that center guard. Second shot position, sitting in the top of the 12.
Yeah, that might act as a center guard later on in the end if there's no runbacks made.
Now Mackenzie Elias. Keep Cameron sensing that front stone is actually more of a guard than a stone in the rings. Saying we better deal with that and neutralize it if we can.
Yeah, if
Get
they
in
can
there
put
first.
the top 4 buried, it's in a pretty ideal position is scoring.
Sweeping for finish. They're going to hide about a third of it. Great path. Another foot of weight, and that probably fully buries.
Yeah, both these teams winning the B, they've had almost 24 hours off. And I'm sure they were watching the Curling Stadium live streams or even live there, but maybe not realizing that it's a little bit straighter today. Haven't put the broom quite in the right spot to make them buried yet.
Yumi Suzuki playing follow the leader. Working this one hard, those sweepers think it's light. Drag it as far as they can, but it's going to stop up just short of the rings. Take away the path to that shot rock.
It's been the difference of the game so far is that Team Fujisawa, some uncharacteristic misses while setting up the end. It really does make your vice and skip stones that much harder when rocks aren't in the place they call them to be. That missing light gives Team Cameron a big advantage early in this end.
Line 2, one guarded. Not quite overlapped guards, but 3 guards in front nonetheless. So Brianna Cullen's going to be asked to play her intern and sit at around the front 12 foot by the looks of where Kate patted the brush prior to the shot. Don't want to clip that front stone. They do sweep it by, and they don't really want to bounce off their own either. It's going to slide just covering the pin. And this is kind of all or nothing time here for Team Fujisawa. Satsuki asking for the freeze. Tiny bump. It's the kind of shot that if you make it, you turn the end around, you bail yourself out. 4 feet heavy. Nudging the red instead. You're looking at dropping 3 or more. So an important stone here
big
for
shot.
Yumi Suzuki. Sweepers jump it out of hand.
Yeah, really big shot here with Cameron's rock sliding about 2 feet deep. Could really shrink the scoring area. Doesn't want to bounce.
Yeah, might have even been slightly overswept. Tiniest of bounces. Little nudge, corner freeze, not bad. Bit of a panic sweep it felt to me there, Sam. After leaving that prior stone short, they didn't want to leave that one short. And fractionally overswept it. That's nitpicking. Red is still shot. Kate saying, okay, I've seen enough. Let's smoke the pile. Hoping for a little bit of action on that second stone behind it, but clears the front. And Satsuki Fujisawa saying, let's wedge another one in here now while we can, because we may not get another chance. Now having another thought. Are they potentially content to overlap a guard and turn this into a straight force situation, Sam?
Yeah, could very well turn into a steal situation. Put a lot of pressure on Cameron if this is made.
With that pat of the brush in the front ring, Satsuki was just communicating the execution tolerance of Shinami. This one, though, is really curling. So they're going to have to leave it up front. They're not going to be able to get to the stones in the button area. So they do leave it short. Kate Cameron immediately saying we got to clear that. There's Shinami Yoshida. Always looking for feedback. Taylor McDonald trying to rearrange the pile. I'm sure Team Cameron will be studying their Japanese as stones go flying left, right, and center.
That's actually a pretty great shot.
Sure is. Leaves themselves lying second shot, but half buried, front 4 foot. And red stones hanging around the back at the 12 foot. As Taylor says, yeah, I'll take that. Absolutely. Great shot.
Yeah, that red
the
staying
reason
in
I
the
was
back 12 is just incredible.
Yep. That brings up a chance of a 3 or a 4 if there's any slight mistake from Team Fujisawa in these final stones. Team Cameron will be going to Japan to play in the New Year's curling event in Japan. Very popular event just after the New Year.
Yeah, for a team that's chasing that third wildcard spot at the Scotties. Had a slow start to the season, but it is slowly moving up in the rankings. This qualifying for this event was pretty big for them.
Yeah, when you get to mid-December, it seems like every game ramps up and every tournament ramps up in importance as you're trying to peak towards the pinnacle events of that season.
Yeah, they're about they're a decent amount behind. They're about they're pretty behind trying to get that third wildcard spot, but they are pretty close at making the Tier 1 Grand Slams. We're currently ranked 20th. Only Canadian teams ahead of them: Christina Black, Chelsea Carey, Kayla Skrellick, Caitlin Laws, and obviously Rachel Holman. Satsuki Fujisawa currently ranked 7th in the world.
Right. They are definitely now regulars on the Grand Slam circuit. Been consistently world top 10 for a number of years now. But they're in a bit of a jam here after some really involved discussion looking at a lot of the options. Looks like it's going to be a draw for Shinami Yoshida.
Yeah, I think they're trying to maybe freeze the red on the top and basically eliminate those reds in the 12 foot.
The reds in the 12 foot absolutely representing the danger. So you want to try and neutralize them however you can. Gonna bump red. Not gonna freeze red.
Oof.
Yeah, that little inside flop does make that yellow double mouth-watering for Kate
It
Cameron.
should jam. It should jam on the red in the back 12, but you can make it to the thick way. I think the most important part of the shot is rolling behind the center guard and protecting your current shot stone.
So a chance to lie 1, 2, 4, we think, if the jam does happen on this double attempt for Taylor McDonald. Just keeping it clean, not really hammering it with the brush at all at this point. And that's why. Had a lot of curling to do. Under curls. Removes 1. But now look at all those red stones in the rings.
Yeah, they're Fujisawa definitely playing with fire, but a good opportunity here to make a freeze and even set up a steal.
Well, a steal from here would be the Houdini act of all time, really.
That was the one why I said the most important part of Taylor McDonald's last rock was to roll to the inside. This is the get out of jail free card. If they can make this freeze, they certainly shrink that scoring area and basically eliminate the other 3 reds in the rings. Can't bounce off, though. If you bounce off, you leave a pretty easy double to sit 4 or 5.
So it has to be said, Team Fujisawa has been a bit scrappy here in the early going in this quarterfinal, but Satsuki with an opportunity to bail her team out with a freeze here. Path looks fine. Where's the weight? Looks heavy.
If anything, it needs to curl.
Here it comes. Suzuki trying to lock it on. Tiny bounce, but good angle. So nice shot there from Satsuki Fujisawa. Inside freeze. Lined up to jam across the catcher in the back 4-foot. If Kate was able to run the front back and try to pop everything.
Yeah, pretty great result. Momentum for sure. Momentum saver. I wouldn't say it was a game saver, but Kate Cameron was looking like they could have taken 2 or 3 this end all the way until that shot.
Yep, that has reduced the fire risk considerably for Team Fujisawa. Kate looking at running in that front stone, and I think that's not a bad option for me, especially with all those accumulators on the 12-foot. To me, you kind of want to give yourself a bit of a chance to unlock and keep that big multiple alive somehow, and I think this is the way to do it.
Yeah, if you slash that center guard into the yellow in the back 4-foot, get rid of 2 yellows, all of a sudden you're sitting 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th in a very lonely yellow for Team Fujisawa if this is made perfectly.
Yep, I really like this call. Tough shot, but she can make it. Brings 4 or 5 right back on the table. Good crowd here in Swift Current. They've been here in numbers right through the event as Kate Cameron delivers. Trying to slash this in and pick something off the 4-foot. Just stuffs it. A little bit unfortunate for Kate. Good throw. But leaves the Fujisawa stone sitting back button. And now Fujisawa sitting 1-2. And if you're Satsuki, you're thinking, well, gosh, I kind of like the way that those are actually lined up.
Well,
You
right
almost
now,
want to leave them alone if you could.
yeah, it's just that slash. There is a slash double for 2 right now. If Team Fujisawa doesn't throw at all.
So that is absolutely the risk. So then how do you defend against that? One way to defend against that, throw a 3rd one in there.
Yeah, it's all line really. Obviously, you would want to throw a 3rd one where you're at least 5th shot, so you're at least full 8-foot. But right on the button, don't think you leave a triple if you're right there. You leave a triple if you're on the right side of the yellow in the back button.
Well, that's what I was just wondering as you were saying that, Sam. If you do sit in front of the shot rock, Kate's already thinking slash double. Does slash double become slash triple? Almost in the same breath.
Yeah, it could. Team Fujisawa would love to put their yellow right where the S3 is on the button, and then there's no triple.
Yep. So if you're going to play into the button area, you got to wedge it in between the 2 yellows.
Yeah. And the tolerance being a corner frozen on the full 4-foot.
don't want to make any kind of a play on that stone, the red stone in the forefoot, because you unlock that, then you run the risk of dropping 3 with a slash double, so you can't make that kind of play. If you're super conservative, you could just hit that stone on the top of the 8-foot that Fujisawa just pointed at.
Yeah, you can do both. You can hit and roll to the center line, and it makes life pretty difficult for Team Cameron. But so does the draw, so it's whatever your skip is most comfortable with. The hit is the safer call for sure, but they're down 1 without. They do need to take a little bit of risk, even though it's the third end.
That's a very good point. Line 2 here with a good chance, if you make a great one, to generate a steal. You're thinking, okay, from where we're sitting right now and looking at the scoreboard, steal's a bit more important than force, so let's do everything we can to get this in a place where we can come out of this end tied up and maybe better.
Yeah, this is made perfectly. It's going to be really hard to score for Team Cameron. Should be pretty close. You did just throw in this path.
Looks like a slightly narrower line. This one's moving over, but it does need to move over relative to her last one. Get to that button area. It's just going to clip that top fractionally.
Perfect.
It locks away the path into the pin. And as Sam said, pretty perfect. Play the slash double now. If you're Kate Cameron, you're dropping a steal.
The only shot to score is slashing their red in the 8-foot onto the button to score. They could nose that yellow or play a slash to give up 1.
What a turnaround in this end, Sam.
Yeah, came down to 2 perfect shots from Satsuki that really turned this end around. I think Kate thinks if she hammers this on the nose, she's at least going to get rid of 2 yellows. If that yellow in the forefoot somehow spins upwards, maybe that rock in the 8-foot comes into play, but the angles aren't good for that. Usually you just hammer this on the nose and let 2 yellows spin out of the forefoot. Give up a steal of 1 and keep hammer going into the 4th, I think is the end goal here for Team Cameron.
Final rock coming up on end number 3 for Kate Cameron of Manitoba. Looking to hammer that front stone and send yellow stones flying in every direction. Fractionally pulling it back against the stick. Not going to get to nose, going to jam, and it is going to leave a steal of 2 for Fujisawa. So as quickly as that, from scrambling in the early going, it's a steal of 2 for the team from Japan. And they take a 3-2 lead into the 4th end in this quarterfinal at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. Good look at the crowd here at the Western Showdown. And Sam, here are our quarterfinal scores in progress.
Yeah, an awesome little update here. Some close games with Kayla Skrilik tying it up against Michelle Inglot 3-3. Corinne Brown up 3-2 over Delaney Strauss. And Kayla McMillan starting with 2 single steals over Xana Schwaller.
Winners of these games will advance to the semifinals here at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. Great crowd in Swift Current, enjoying some fantastic curling. Playing conditions have been terrific. Corner guard up for Kate Cameron. Center guard up for Satsuki Fujisawa. And Kate Cameron says, let's come into the rings.
Yeah, Team Cameron needs to understand that they were the better team in the first 2 ends. They need to bring back that momentum in this end. They have even ends down 1. They're not in a bad spot, even though it feels like it after being up 1 with last end. So they just need to stay focused, make the next 8 shots.
Good looking line on this freeze attempt. That's pretty dead solid perfect. Sitting directly in front of shot rock. Fujisawa says, yep, that's pretty good. We're just going to have to follow it down.
Yeah, let the freeze game begin.
We love it though, don't we, Sam? Rocks in play, things frozen up against each other, creates all kinds of possibilities mid-end.
It is a lot of fun watching the freeze game, making a best, especially when it's two of the best teams in the world, top 20, and obviously not wanting to leave the angle where you leave an easy double. Good sweeping.
So 3 stones lined up in perfect formation, nearly fully behind that center guard. Absolutely on a tightrope. Brianna Cullen waiting for the call before she gets down into the delivery position. Looks like Kate wants to bring that corner guard into play here, Sam.
Yeah, good opportunity to set up your second point, really, is what this option is. You threw the corner for a reason. Get this buried behind the corner guard. Eventually, you might have a double for 2 or 3 at the end of this end.
Taking its time making a move, but you know it's going to finish. They're going to sweep it as deep as they can to try and get some kind of cover. There you get a good look at that late finish. Wind up hiding about half. Leaving it on the tee line, but certainly diggable for Satsuki Fujisawa. And she is asking for a down weight play at that shot.
Yeah, seeing half of it. As long as you don't overthrow this, it'll get a nice amount of curl.
Yumi Suzuki lining it up. One of my favorite deliveries in the sport. No wasted motion whatsoever. By the guard, looking for that roll now. Maybe overswept it actually.
Does look like they did oversweep it. They're not. Second shot. A little bit of a missed opportunity, but does get the first goal done, which was to eliminate the red that was behind the corner guard.
Time to eliminate the center guard, says Kate. Asking for peel weight.
They're looking to
Nicely
hit and
executed.
roll, but nicely executed. They were looking to hit and roll to a corner guard, give themselves another option, but
would have been a bonus to keep a corner guard after ripping a guard. Fujisawa says, let's replace that guard. As the game of cat and mouse continues. Fourth end, 8-end game, quarterfinals here in Swift Current. This is Shinami Yoshida being asked to throw that center guard. With those stones biting the edge of that center line, it's a great guide as a sweeper. When you know perfect is just kind of biting the center line, it's a fantastic guide for you when you're trying to finish it.
Yeah, not a single mistake there. It's pretty fun to watch, and that's that's where the communication comes into play and makes them one of the best teams in the world. Is they almost know exactly where the rock is going to stop.
Taylor McDonald looking to blow up the center and maybe get some action. Goes across the face of the corner guard. Lines them up in kind of an interesting angle if they had to use that as a bailout shot, but that doesn't seem like it's going to be required in this end. Yoshida. Suzuki keeping that stone in motion. This one might over curl, just a fraction. It's going to come a little deeper, but pretty good.
Yeah, deep enough where you're probably going to see Team Cameron make the nose run back. I think they need to take it on. This is Vice's last stone. They're just calling appeal. I don't know how that's going to help them, because Fujisawa will just make a better guard.
Yeah, at some point, they have to unlock shot rock. This might be the opportunity to do it. McDonald. This will be a straight peel. So those stones lined up just in front of the forefoot area survive for another shot. And Satsuki Fujisawa says, all right, I will just try to guard us out here in this end.
Yeah, it certainly makes Team Fujisawa's strategy very easy.
Yeah, make another perfect guard.
Yeah.
Skip stones here in the fourth. Fujisawa throwing down the same path that she's asked her teammates to throw this, and pretty much feels like the entire end, really. Looks a slightly wider path, though, than her teammates. Suzuki, you can see her changing her brush angle. We're gonna have to work this one hard to get it back to the center line. And she is digging in, trying to keep that stone in motion and try to get some carving motion as they go. Very well managed rock by Yumi Suzuki in particular, and Yurika Yoshida chipping in as well, exposing a tiny, tiny sliver on the intern side. Kate says that's maybe enough for me.
Yeah, now they're talking about the run back, and basically a nose run back right now. The good news about being half glass full, the good news about waiting to play the run back one shot later is Fujisawa only has one attempt at eliminating your red stone. If this is made.
This is a good call. I like the call, but I do kind of wonder, as those two reds that are out there on the wing, I wonder how well angled they are onto that front yellow. It almost looked automatic. But this is definitely the more direct route to get some motion on those stones along the center line. Big, big weight. Just going to be a straight peel.
Yeah, the story of the last three ends for Kate Cameron there is just that big peel weight has run really straight on her so far today.
So after a short little bit of speculation around a different call than a straight guard, the brush goes down, and I suspect it will be one more guard and then setting up at worst a force. Solid call in this situation. Yumi jumped onto that one almost out of hand. Seemed a bit concerned that it was underthrown, but it looks just fine. If anything, it's going to overcurl. Yep, it's going to show 2/3, and so Kate not even looking at it. She could pop the top yellow onto the red and score one that way, but she says, I'm not even going to throw that. I wrecked the guard, and that's not good, so I'm just going to draw. So mission accomplished in one sense for Team Fujisawa. It will be a force. And maybe a no-risk steal. Kate has to hit the forefoot. Good defensive end from Team Fujisawa, though, Sam. They really defended that early setup well right through the end.
Yeah, to continue to keep the pressure on Team Cameron. This is a big momentum shot. Needs to bite the button for her 1 point, tie the game, and keep even ends.
Cullen and Elias on the brushes. Just keeping a heavy clean here. They seem pretty happy with the weight. Well, this one's got a bit of momentum. It's got some stopping to do. Is it going to go deep? Is it going to slide through? Yes, it's going to slide through the forefoot, and it will be a steal of one, I believe. We'll just wait for confirmation, but it looks like yellow to me. And they are kicking the stones off, so my goodness gracious. A fraction heavy for Kate Cameron, and we do believe that is a steal of one for Fujisawa. They lead it 4-2 as we head for the fifth end in this quarterfinal at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. Fifth end of this quarterfinal in swift current at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. Kate Cameron versus Satsuki Fujisawa. Hans Frauenlob along with Sam Stevens. Sam, momentum's one of those things in sports that you can feel but you can't see. Kate Cameron came out of the gate strong, but then after a fantastic angle freeze from Satsuki Fujisawa in the third to set up a steal of two, feels like the momentum curve has tilted in Team Fujisawa's direction all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's a funny sport we play sometimes. Team Cameron started off quite well, getting a free 2 points in the first and forcing in the second end, but it's been all Team Fujisawa since.
Cameron's got hammer here in 5. Corner guard up, trying to go around. Mackenzie Elias. Hiding 2/3. Satsuki Fujisawa saying, yeah, we can throw a little hack waiter here. I think we can still get to it. Good 10-foot gap between the guard and the target rock. Yumi Suzuki lines it up. This one looks full, if anything. Sweeping for curl now. Now trying to keep the momentum so they can push this stone through the rings and get a bit of a roll. Push the stone through the rings and they get a bit of a roll. Not enough to hide, but good shot. Good team shot there from Team Fujisawa. They lie too.
Yeah, pretty good start for Team Fujisawa. Obviously, Kate Cameron wanting to score multiple here in this end. Take 2 or 3 and try to build some momentum.
She's got a couple of guards up. She doesn't have to go crazy. She's got a lot to work with here. deciding which of the two stones in the rings they want to make a play at. Settling on the front stone. I like this choice.
Realizing they didn't want to get boxed out. Make the hit and roll behind the corner. You get a 2-for-1 shot.
Exactly right. Looking for the roll. Gonna get probably half the roll they wanted. Keep themselves sitting in the front 12 foot, but fully available for Satsuki Fujisawa to make a play at. So that is knee weight instead of ankle weight in the communication system of Team Fujisawa. Very similar path for Yumi Suzuki that she threw on her first. Boy, they're gonna have to work hard to get contact. Satsuki willing that stone off the rings.
Yeah, great sweeping.
You pointed that out earlier, Sam. Not that that was a hummer by any means, but step the weight up a bit. And as much as they break really hard with the down weight, they seem to track with the up weight.
Yeah, it certainly does. I think that's going to be a common theme today and into tomorrow on the men's playoffs. Just getting a little bit straighter than they want to.
That's not unusual as you get a lot of action through a tournament. If the stones were treated in any way at the outset, as the days go by and the stones are running up and down the ice more, a little less movement is not uncommon. Nose hit.
Yeah, with the corner guard, it's certainly looking a little bit better for Team Cameron. I know this is an open hit, but if you get one behind one of those guards, you're going to be looking at scoring 2 points.
It does feel like the kind of game, Sam, where a safe 2-point end, even though it's an odd end, seems really important for Team Cameron. Kind of steady the ship a little bit and get them feeling good about the closeout part of this quarterfinal.
It does feel like a must score end for Team Cameron.
Yes, they've dropped consecutive steals, so scoring is a must, but 2 would be very desirable. They're working this one hard. This one's over curling. Now they're going to take the play towards that corner guard. They'll pop out half on the outside, but Kate Cameron says, thank you very much. Here's our chance to use that corner.
Yeah, that rolled to basically the worst place it could have rolled to. It almost would have been better rolling out. Just gives Team Cameron a rock to play with. They can corner freeze onto this. They can leave it just above to where if Team Fujisawa tries to play hack weight, it will jam.
So chance for Taylor McDonald to turn the screws a little bit here. Looking to duck around that corner and corner freeze the Fujisawa stone. That's well by the guard. It's going to slide deeper than they would have liked into the back of the 8-foot. It will be shot, fully covered, but quite routine for Fujisawa to pop that one off by making a play at her own if she chooses that shot.
Yeah, unfortunate. Yeah, it is shot rock, but it was pretty easily eliminated. Still an opportunity to make the draw on Taylor's next shot once this rock is eliminated.
So Shinami Yoshida, a chance to make amends for that half shot on her first one. He has to come around the pile on the outside. Some urgency in the sweeping call. This one might be narrow. And yep, it's all over the guard. Oh dear.
Yeah, very surprising miss.
So that swings the door wide open for Kate Cameron. Use that center guard now. You're already lying one. Very good position now to lock in that pair that she's really, really eager to have. That would tie the game. Different draw path for Taylor on this shot. Wide on the intern side for her, the right-hander. Brianna Cullen keeping it clean. Now backing off. Sweepers think it's got plenty of weight, and it does seem to be sliding down that path. We've seen this path a few times, taking the stone deep in the rings. And sadly for Team Cameron into third shot position. Still on the rings though, still representing a threat. But certainly not what they were looking for, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, lucky enough stays in the rings or their 2 points is basically not going to happen. So mission accomplished. Obviously, they would have liked to sit 2 right now, but it's going to be hard for Team Fujisawa to hit this and not leave a double to sit 2.
What they're looking at is if we hit that yellow just off nose, do we get action on that one in the back going by? I'm not sure that they do.
No, I don't think so. It'd have to be pretty thin with a lot of weight.
Yep. And if you do that, then you're going to lose the shot that you're promoting in the process, so it's a big gamble. They are thinking about it. Skips rocks here in the 5th end. Team Fujisawa leading at 4-2. Team Cameron threatening here. They've got hammer here in 5. Could try to pick red and roll across, but you overcurl that, you pick your own, and then all of a sudden you're looking at 3, so that's not a serious option. Looking at coming around the center guard now. That's not a crazy call.
No, just a little bit surprising being up 2 without. I know you leave a double no matter what you do hitting this rock in the 8-foot, but this kind of brings 3 into play.
Yeah, I think the risk-reward equation here is really how do we feel about our chances of generating a force versus how do we feel about our chances of avoiding dropping 3? And that's kind of the equation that they've been weighing up here as they consider their shot choice. Partly playing the scoreboard. 2 up. Shot's on its way. Choice has been made. It will be the come around the center guard for Satsuki Fujisawa. We've seen this path slide, so I don't think there's going to be any problem with distance. It's got all the weight. It's got to be about the line now. Try to get fully hidden. And that is pretty good. 3/4 buried.
Good. Probably could still chase it with hack weight.
Yep.
Not
Kate's
fun,
first,
but makeable.
Kate's first instinct is always seems to be a run, but now she's asking her teammates, can we see much of that? I think the answer will be, yeah, you can probably see about an eighth. But I'm with you, Sam. You know, the way that it finishes, she only has to push it out of the 8 foot. I think you'd have a play at it here.
I do. I think you have to play the backline hack waiver. Just push it to the back 12 and sit 2. You might leave a double, but at this point you have to take some risks.
Lovely draw there from Fujisawa. She's been really bailing her teammates out in a lot of respects with key draw at a key time. Mentioned that freeze in the third that turned that end around, and this come around here has complicated things considerably for Kate Cameron. All the discussion is about how much weight she wants to throw at this. Doesn't feel like a lot of stick for a hack waiter there, Sam.
No, it is a little straighter, but yeah, it's not a lot of room.
Pair of very strong sweepers in Brianna Cullen and Mackenzie Elias. So perhaps showing confidence in Brianna on the inside sweep to hold line. And I suspect similar to earlier, the conversation is really all around how much it's going to move with a certain amount of weight. It often looks very different when you get down to the hack end too, though, doesn't it, Sam?
Yeah,
you line it up and you're thinking, okay, we can see an eighth, and then you go down and you see what you can actually see, saying, oh, I can hardly see anything here. Don't really like it as much as I thought. So they will come up and have another look.
Yeah, time to talk about it. No matter what she plays, it's going to be a hard shot.
Yeah, just going to say. Tough shot no matter what she plays. I suspect a lot of the discussion is just around even dropping the weight. Now they're talking about potential corner freezes. I mean, you could even, on the intern side, say, maybe don't even have to throw hack weight. Maybe I'm content just to push it across the 4 foot and expose it. So maybe not even worry about pushing it out of the 8, but just push it deep in the 4 foot.
It's a pretty good call. I still think the backline tap is the call. It's definitely there. It's very difficult, but the run back really doesn't help you scoring multiple. So it's either the backline tap or just the draw.
And if the draw, does a freeze help you or not? Or do you need to move that stone? That's the discussion here.
Corner freeze would help, because then Fujisawa has to make a guard, most likely.
Looked like there was a bit of a discussion around going around that stone on the outturn side, but after all is said and done here, brush position, are they trying to pick that thing, Sam, or are they running the front?
Maybe they're running the front one into the yellow on the side 12 and sit second, third. It's not the worst option in the world either.
Kate again from the hack end saw that brush and she saw something she didn't really like, so here always get a bit of a line adjustment now. That brush goes out another 2 brush widths. Kind of where they had the stick originally, really. Still tight ice, and it does feel to me like she's just trying to pick this thing.
Does certainly look like that, doesn't it?
Well, it's gentle weight. So after all the discussion, it does look like the hack weight attempt being made here. Got a skinny the guard. They just feather it. So Shot Rock survives.
Yeah, as a coach, I never like seeing a team over talk about a shot. I know you want to get it perfect, but sometimes you talk about it so much that the execution just going to be tough to make after.
Yeah, sometimes it's like going into a restaurant and having a menu with too many options, isn't it? You can't make a choice. Better to reduce the number of options, settle on something, and go for it, rather than keep multiple options in your brain when you're trying to lock in on something. 2 options being considered by Team Fujisawa were come around the center to the front forefoot or sit just directly in front of it. And it feels like you'd kind of like to just, well, what's ideal, Sam? I was going to say Christmas tree it around the front a little
Christmas
bit.
Tree, yep, full 8-foot. Half buried is perfect and makes Kate Cameron have to draw the pin against 2. Obviously, your tolerance is light.
Satsuki on the drawback. Felt something underneath the stone she didn't like, so she resets. And here she comes. Similar line, similar path to her first stone, so it should feel quite familiar. And Suzuki holding 3 fingers in the air. That's tight guard zone, weight-wise. So now they're going to play a straight guard. Don't want to leave a gap up the middle, so they close that off, cover the shot rock. Mission accomplished. Force has been generated by Team Fujisawa. Kate Cameron putting the brush down outside the edge of 8, and she's just going to have to draw full forefoot, score a single point. Consecutive steals for Team Fujisawa, and threatening again here in 5. Could it be a 3rd consecutive steal?
Yeah, Team Cameron, big shot. How to draw to the forefoot from the last end that came up deep. Keep themselves in this game. Needs full 4.
Last rock on its way for Kate Cameron. Kenzie Elias, Brianna Cullen on the brushes, keeping it clean. They'll be mindful of that draw that slid through the forefoot, so I don't think they're going to make a sweeping mistake heavy this time. Stone coming into the button area, and that is dead solid perfect. Right on the pin for Kate Cameron, keeping her and her teammates very much in this game. Single point for Team Cameron. Good force for Team Fujisawa. We head for the 6th end in the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. It's Fujisawa 4, Cameron 3. Welcome back to Swift Current. It's the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown on Curling Stadium, Curling Zone, wherever you are in the world. We are glad you're with us. Quarterfinal action, women's event. Satsuki Fujisawa versus Kate Cameron. Fujisawa forcing Cameron to a single in the 5th. They've got hammer here in end number 6. Just after 4 a.m. in Japan, and I know the Japanese fans are either up really late or up really early, Sam. It's kind of hard to tell, really, at 4 a.m., but we're glad they're along with us.
Yeah, we're not going to complain about it, that's for sure. Though obviously, some dedicated Team Fujisawa fans in the chat.
Some sleepless Fujisawa fans in the chat, you would think. A lot of coffee and energy drinks being consumed, I would say, if you're following your team at 4 in the morning, and that's dedication.
Most of their curling fans are probably used to it at this point.
That's true. Years of training.
Yeah.
Center guard up for Cameron. Fujisawa throwing a stone into the back 8-foot. Kenzie Elias will try to snuggle one in behind that center guard.
Yeah, no secret for Team Cameron is basically going to play to steal the rest of the game, especially at least this sixth end.
Yep. You're going to be going hard for a steal or a force, but if you're going to go all out, this is the end to go all out if you're Kate Cameron. This one, however, will come up short. It's going to come to rest. Well, has it bitten the rings? Fujisawa patting her brush behind that stone, indicating that they can hit it, so that tells us that it is in the rings. Otherwise, it would be in the free guard zone area. Still a lot of precision here for Yurika Yoshida. Can't clip that center guard, it's biting the center line. No mistake whatsoever there from the lead player for Team Fujisawa. Yurika Yoshida, nice shot.
Yep, that's just an opportunity. Cameron can draw the top 4 foot here.
Yeah, good execution from Yurika. The lead position, you're playing so many guards and freezes. When you get a chance to throw the up waiter, you just want to be able to show that, yep, I've got that shot too, and Yurika threw it perfect. But an opportunity to make a better come around. This one is going to slide past T. It's going to come to the stone in the back ring.
Yeah, kind
Over
of a
half frozen.
Yeah, unfortunate outcome. Now, Team Fujisawa, I mean, they don't love getting forced, but they'll have a draw to backing for their 1 point, even after a couple of guards and peels here.
Yumi Suzuki, a little inside out on that delivery. She got contact. No, blows it by. My. Huge miss there. You can just see it out of hand, Sam. Unsteady slide, very uncharacteristic. Yumi is usually so dead solid perfect with her slide, but a little wayward on that one. Blows it by the center guard, and all of a sudden Kate Cameron with a chance to stack it. This one could really turn this end around.
Yeah, big miss and a big opportunity for Cameron now. Last time Team Fujisawa threw a flash, they gave up 2 in the first end. Not to speak that into existence.
This one's going to flirt with that center guard. They do get it by. Well swept. Very well swept. Dragging it all the way around that center guard and almost biting the front 4 foot.
Yeah. Great adjustment, great shot.
So Yumi Suzuki looking to atone for that miss on her first shot. Gets another chance to clear the center. Hammers it and gets some action on that stone just delivered. So good cleanup job there from Yumi. Does leave the guard sitting just off the center line, but that improves the situation a lot for Team Fujisawa.
Yeah, very much a big shot needed there. They would have looking like steal opportunity if that's not made.
Still a pretty good situation, though, for Team Cameron. That guard stone taking away one pass to the button. They've got a shot rock in the back ring. Looking to get a bit of a 2-for-1. Hide a corner behind that guard and cover the shot rock as well. And that's exactly what they do.
Yeah, pretty much perfect. No mistake there.
And that brings the play into a zone where I don't think Satsuki was really loving the fact that she's going to have to play small taps and keep stones accumulated in the back ring, but sometimes the situation dictates that you kind of have to, and that's her choice here. She's just asking for backline weight, make a play on that stone just delivered and push it back. Kitami Yoshida. Hard early sweep. Now it's making a move. Gonna be life and death to get it by this guard. Oh, they just feather it. Sweeping error. Get a little bit of fortunate action on that stone in the back ring, just clipping red. Shot rock survives, and it looks to me, Sam, like red is lying too.
Yeah, another big miss for Team Cameron. An opportunity to put a ton of pressure on Team Fujisawa here in the 6th.
Halfway down, they felt good about it. Swept it early and then backed off. They thought it needs to curl, and then the moment they down throttled on the sweep, the stone just jumped. All of a sudden, they're on the guard, and now potential real jackpot if Team Cameron can wedge another one around that guard half around. Could really make it difficult for Team Fujisawa to get into the scoring area.
Big opportunity here. I would like to try to get to top 4 foot. You want to make sure you line it up where when they play the run back, it jams.
Pretty much where she's got the brush. That would be a great position. They're talking about their options. What happens if they run that yellow stone in? Button is available. Fujisawa. That's a pretty cozy scoring area if you have to drill that button maybe against 3. 3 stones each to come here in end number 6. It will be Taylor McDonald to throw this stone for Team Cameron. But I'm with you, Sam. You feel like you want to be second or third shot with this delivery.
That would be absolutely ideal.
Yeah. More importantly, as you said, kind of wedge in against that run. Tracking well clear of the guard.
Quite heavy,
this
too.
One is going to come really deep. Bounces the shooter. Oh dear, has she left an inside double? Fujisawa says we can at least roll on top. The law firm of Yoshida and Yoshida coming up to have a look. Joined now by Yumi Suzuki. Red's going to jam the yellow stone. That's almost unavoidable. But they're not too worried about that. They're thinking, how can we remove one? And do we want to remove the second one, or do we want to sit in front of it? Seems to be all the discussion here.
I do think you want to hit and freeze at this point. Almost guarantees your max you're going to give up is a steal at 1.
Eureka Yoshida was having a look at the run. Now Shinami Yoshida doing the same. It's a long run, though, to run yellow into the pocket. So that's a pretty low percentage play compared to going at shot rock directly. So that is what they are going to do. So what's perfect, Sam? About half a rock, a little thick half maybe. Get that roll. Depends
Yeah,
on the
but
weight, I
thick
suppose.
half. If it depends. If you're making the double, you can hit anywhere from a quarter rock to even thinner than that if you wanted to. But if you're making the hit and roll, it's about a thick half. Yep.
So really all the uncertainty around this shot choice is, are they playing the double or are they playing the hit and roll to freeze position? It's on its way for Shinami Yoshida. Again, making a big move. Are they by? Just clip, clip. 2 stones go flying out, and she avoids the jam at the back. Nice shot, but boy, oh boy, moments of terror there. They nearly flicked that guard again, Sam.
Yeah, that was close. That center line is really curling on them right now.
My. You could see smiles of relief, really, from Fujisawa and Yoshida behind the sheet. They know that was a millimeter from disaster, but a great result. Now they're lying 1, 3, and 4. They've got the hammer, and all of a sudden now Kate Cameron, from a situation where it was looking pretty solid to generate a force, now it's all of a sudden, gosh, if I make a little mistake, I could drop 4.
Yeah, definitely a missed opportunity. But still a chance. Tap this rock about a foot. You could still set up for a steal.
Anticipating that big late move. Here it comes. A little heavy though. It's going to bounce yellow and leave herself sitting on the button, but fully available for Fujisawa.
Yeah, unfortunately, just a little bit heavy.
Conversely, this time, hard not to see a jam if the play is the hit and inside roll. They'll almost certainly jam that stone to back 8, but they're not too worried about that. If they can get a great roll, 2 behind cover, that would be a great situation.
Yeah, the roll's the most important part. It's always going to jam. Team Cameron will probably sit 3rd and 4th after this, but you'll be 2 buried behind the center guard.
So a hit coming up for Satsuki. She's been throwing a lot of draws and come-arounds. It's been a while since she's thrown a hit and roll in a key spot, but this is that moment. We've seen this path really jump when the weight comes down on down weight hits. So we'll have to watch the line very closely on this shot. Shinami Yoshida, very well aware of that. They get to nose, get a tiny roll, but leaving, well, certainly a double, but if the double's made for Kate Cameron, they're jamming the red stones in the back, so it's not an automatic by any means just to put the brush down and throw the double.
You can make it perfect to make the double, and that yellow rock can squeeze through the middle to sit 3. And probably the only shot available. You could play this wide draw to the edge of the button, but then just has to tap their yellow a centimeter. In my opinion, I think you have to play the double.
Yeah. So if it is going to be the double, Sam, I mean, she's just going to have to feather the back stone to squeeze it through those 2 reds. That is a tiny, tiny hole to get through.
Yeah, it's a difficult shot, but being down one without it, I think it's a must make.
Well, one thing you know for sure, you can't leave that stone sitting on the button, so you got to make some kind of a play at it. There's no choice there.
Yeah, it's time to make a big shot here. If you make the double perfect, you're going to roll to the edge of the forefoot where if Team Fujisawa decides to hit, they don't have a lot of room to roll, at least outside.
Nose hit doesn't get you shot, so she is going to have to be thinking double here. Intriguing sixth end here in the quarterfinals of the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. Winner of this game will advance into the semifinal. Well, that one is going to over curl, and it does go to nose. Removes one of the Fujisawa counters, but there is one in the bank now.
I guess the only good news is that Team Fujisawa can't nose the red one and be sitting 1-2. So they're going to have to draw full forefoot for their 2 points.
You can almost use that red in the back 8 for backing. You're going to need half the forefoot. Thing is, if you're drawing towards the button, there's always the risk you over curl, bump the red a little bit, and go, oops. So the question is, how much do we want that second point? Safety first. You got the one on the board now. 2 up without playing 7 if you don't throw this rock at all. Last thing you want to do is make the shot for the opponent.
Yeah, it's a little scary coming this way. I'm shocked they didn't come the other way.
It's very scary. I suppose thinking about coming the other way, then the other risk is that you're a little bit heavy and you bump your own a short distance and you're giving up the steal that way. There's a risk either way, making a play for the second point.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, you got to make sure you score.
Yeah, for me, that's job one. So if you are making a play here, as she is, you're not thinking button. You're thinking T-line edge of the forefoot for me.
Yeah. Don't want to get anywhere close to that center line.
Last rock on its way for Satsuki Fujisawa, trying to draw for 2. Really important control point. Suzuki and Yoshida think it's light. They are pounding this stone. And I don't think they're going to get it to the forefoot, despite their efforts. Well, maybe speaking too soon. No, it will come up short, just biting the 8-foot circle. But it will be a single point for Team Fujisawa. Good force for Team Cameron. That end had a little bit of everything going in it. So it's a 2-point lead for Team Fujisawa as we head for the 7th end. Kate Cameron will have last rock in the 7th in Swift Current. Good look at the fans here, and Sam, good opportunity here to update the fans on all the quarterfinal scores so far here at the Western Showdown.
Yeah, Selma Schwaller up 5-3 after a slow start to the game, has taken control of that end of that game. Obviously, Michelle Englot up 8-5 over Kayla Skrillick, and Delaney Strauss up 7-5 over Corinne Brown, all headed to the 8th end.
Our feature game, Satsuki Fujisawa versus Kate Cameron. Team Fujisawa scoring a single in the 6th end, had a chance to draw for 2. Tricky draw, came up about 4 feet short. A very important point. 2 up without playing 7. Quite a bit different than 3 up without playing 7, Sam.
Yeah, quite a bit different. They up 3, you basically win the game. Even if you give up 2 or 3 in the 7th, you're still in control.
Corner guard up for Team Cameron. 2 stones in the rings for Team Fujisawa. Classic situation, really, in this game situation. Cameron electing to unlock those stones and roll over behind the winger, and that is exactly what they've done. Reposition the stone, keep that stone in the back 12 foot for a jam. That's a nice shot.
Yeah, great shot. I maybe a little surprised of throwing a hit on the lead second stones when you're down 2, but it's not the end of the world to blank. I mean, it's basically anything but a force. Take 2 and you have a chance. Take 3, you're up 1. Or blank and you down 2 with is all good opportunities, but anything but getting forced or giving up a steal.
By making that shot choice, just amplifies what the 5 rock rule means in this sport. Instead of ripping the guards as they would under the old 4 rock rule, you have to make a different shot choice here. Yumi Suzuki flashed a hit earlier in the game to put her team in some momentary difficulty.
Yeah, the 2 ends that Team Cameron has looked good. First end and an opportunity in the 6th after an early miss, like you just said, but hasn't only capitalized on the 1 in the first end.
They do not cover shot rock. So stones to work with here for Kate Cameron and company.
Yeah, great opportunity to hit and roll over. Could bring 3 into play, but splitting the rings early, this is made.
Brianna Cullen. My, nothing but air. Huge unforced error there for Team Cameron, unfortunately for them. And now an opportunity to blast for Team Fujisawa. Gonna be hitting something. The question is what?
Yeah, big missed opportunity for Team Cameron there. That would have been a good chance to split the rings early. Still lots of rocks in play, and there's obviously a red buried behind corner.
You gotta feel like that corner guard's gotta be a goner in this situation, don't you, Sam?
Yeah, they know they need to peel it. They're just wondering whether they try and make the run back and roll to center line, or try to just peel.
Lots of impediments between that corner guard and safety. Could hit it and roll to the inside and further clutter the center. It's kind of a good news, bad news situation.
Yes, certainly.
Hit it high side, risk of jams. So not an easy call. Gets a little bit of action on that front stone, nudges it forward into the rings. Nice shot there from Yumi Suzuki, and well read. Pushes that front stone edge on edge. So it's offering a little bit more protection to that stone in the forefoot. A little bit more difficult now for Kate. She certainly can't get inside it anymore. Indicating backline weight. Fujisawa spinning about and having a quick look at the scoreboard just to reconfirm where they're at. 2 ends to play, 2 up. Comforting feeling.
Yeah, not a bad spot to be at all.
Just trying to push this stone deep in the rings. That's pretty well played.
It does leave the run double. A little dangerous for Fujisawa if they miss narrow and flash. Brings 3 right back into play.
Yep, so if you're going to make a mistake anywhere here, make it on the high side. As you say, you can't flash, but you don't want to get too greedy trying to make that run double, and probably just more important to plant the top one.
Yeah, I can't see this narrow, but it should be really close.
Does indeed plant that front one. Good call. That raised double was tempting, but as you said, Sam, you take that on over curls and all of a sudden, uh-oh.
Yeah,
that shot choice reduces the chance of 3 considerably.
Yeah, the last thing you could do was miss narrow and flash, so obviously a pro miss.
Tightens up the scoring area in the process as well. All of those stones clustered around the edge of the forefoot now.
Still 2 in play. Obviously, after they had a 0 this end, it was going to be very difficult to score 3. Looks like playing another backline tap.
Okay, Cameron doing what she can to try and generate a half miss from her opponent. Brianna Cullen keeping it moving. Want to push this one deep, but I don't think they're going to move it much past tee. Well, they get it just past tee.
Pretty good outcome, good sweeping.
Yeah, it was very good sweeping. Brianna went coast to coast on that one. Sensible call here from Satsuki. Bit of a sucker play to play the front stone. Much safer play to play the back stone. In this game situation, at least. Looking for an inside roll into the pile, into the pocket. She'd love to sit on the pin, almost squarely behind that red stone. Again, some desperation in the sweeping call. Is this one over curling? Oh, has she got contact at all? Just feathers it, gets away with it. Stone's going sideways out of the rings. My goodness. Nearly a disaster. Got away with it. Does create an opportunity for Kate Cameron to come to that stone in the back of the forefoot. Yeah, sometimes you don't even have to see it, Sam. You can just hear it in the sweeping call.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't even need to be watching on our cameras. We can just see it happening. Or listen to it happening. It's good sweeping to even eliminate that stone. That could have brought 3 into play pretty fast.
Yeah, they just got the faintest bit of contact to push that red out of the rings, because you're right. If they go by that one, leave the red run on the rings. All kinds of problems.
Still an opportunity for 2 here. If this freeze is made perfectly, it does give Fujisawa a chance to double jam and bring 3 into play. 2's a must here for Team Cameron.
Taylor McDonald trying that freeze. Real nerve to let it come so close to that front, but they knew there was a lot of weight on it. It's a little bump on that stone in the back.
Yeah, they played
Is
it
there a
best they
nose
could.
double to get out of this one? But they're not even
Wow.
really looking at it.
Pretty shocking up two without just throwing a freeze.
Yep, this is bravery.
Yeah.
As we can see on the left-hand side of our picture.
Considering it's
Nose,
basically a nose double, yeah.
nose double, yep.
Even if you miss a little bit wide and stuff the red in the back 4-foot, the other red sends into the back 12 and most likely won't come into play.
And they are having another look as Satsuki gets down in the hack. Looked to me like she was reconsidering, but they are still talking about it. But they have settled on the draw.
She doesn't.
Satsuki does not look sold to me.
Doesn't look sold, but maybe they're just talking about weight.
Yeah.
Obviously important. You can't miss light here. You bring 3 or 4 into play if you end up a guard. Want to be right perfectly frozen back 4-foot.
It's putting a lot of burden on the entire team making this shot choice. Got to throw it great, got to read it great, got to sweep it great to get it right to a spot. Satsuki Fujisawa, just calm as you like. I'll just throw it there.
Yeah, if you're gonna make it perfect, you might as well throw that shot.
Tremendous shot. In that game situation, folks, I'll tell you what, that is high quality.
No, not a lot of teams would throw that freeze.
Just such confidence in their ability to execute. Draws to a spot with precision. And wow, what a great shot.
Yep, really leaves no choice but for Cameron to make the nose run back. If made perfectly, they could sit shot rock and third shot.
That's what I was
just
thinking.
A little bit off of nose.
Exactly, just off nose. You're sitting 1-3.
Yeah. Still have an opportunity for 2 here. It just makes it that much harder after your opposing team makes a very good freeze. They didn't whip this rock. Certainly coming in, needs it to curl quite a bit.
Oh dear. Catches a third, spills. And now the equation changes a lot for Team Fujisawa. Yep, I think that's the spot. Put it there. How does Kate score if we put it there? They're asking themselves, if we do make a play on our own right now, do we get an automatic force? So they are also talking about hitting the yellow, hitting the red.
But yeah, right on the center line would be perfect.
Yeah, if I'm them, frankly, I'm not thinking about hitting the yellow at all.
There really is no point at this point. You could just, even if you nose it, if you hit it just off nose, you set up a triple for 2.
Exactly.
That red's just going to jam in the back 12 foot. So
exactly.
This is more of a line shot than a weight shot. Just needs to be in front of that yellow. You can't over curl. If you over curl or under curl, you give up a chance for a double for 2 and to tie the game.
Yeah, so the great news if you're a Team Fujisawa fan, with this shot choice, Worst case, you're one up coming home with. Best case, maybe a steal, maybe you put the game away right here.
Yep. Just full 8 foot in front of their shot stone would be perfect.
Yumi Suzuki jumped on that out of hand. Now the switch. Wide line, but they're more worried about the weight, I think, at this point than the line. Sweeping for distance now. Trying to take it as deep as they can. They want to get cover. They've got cover. Great sweep. And
That's
just
perfect.
enough to fully cover the shot rock. And Kate Cameron puts the brush down, says, nice guard. I'm going to have to draw the pin.
Yeah, just as I said, it was more of a line shot than a weight shot. That could have been a 1 guard, and if it was in the same spot, it would do the trick.
Yeah, the only question was how aggressive did they want to get? Did they want to get to front button or not? But as you said, execution tolerance light there. Gets the guard done, got the force locked up. Kate Cameron needs full button to score a single point. Keep her team in the game, but they would be entering that 8th end without last rock 1 down, even if she makes.
Must make to keep her team alive. Here in Swift Current.
Game on the line here for Kate Cameron. It's in the hands of Cullen and Elias. This one, well, does it look light? It does. It's going to come up well short, so it's a steal of 1 for Team Fujisawa to give them a 6-3 lead. 3 up coming home for Team Fujisawa here at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown in Swift Current. Welcome back to Swift Current. It is the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. Quarterfinals in the women's event. Satsuki Fujisawa taking on Kate Cameron. Hans Frauenlob here along with Sam Steep. Sam, just looking at my scorecard here, the last 5 ends of this game. Steal, steal, force, force, steal. Team Fujisawa bringing this one home strongly.
Yeah, the scoreboard on the bottom of your screen was wrong, but Team Fujisawa hasn't looked back since the 3rd end. And we do have some finals. Xana Schwaller winning their quarterfinal over Kayla McMillan. Michelle Inglot winning her quarterfinal over Kayla Skrillik, and Delaney Strauss winning over Corinne Brown. This is the last quarterfinal on the ice.
So we know who 3 of our semifinalists are, and this match will determine who semifinalist number 4 is.
Yeah, the winner of this game plays Xana Schwaller in the semifinal.
Double corners stacked for now for Team Cameron. They're going to need every rock possible. They've got the hammer, but 2 will not get it done.
Yeah, not to make it sound simple, but they need to make all 8 of their stones and most likely get at least 1-0 from Fujisawa to score at least 3.
Yumi Suzuki. Bit of a sideways look from her as she watches the stone go down the rings, down the ice rather. Gonna try to bring this one deep. It doesn't have great line, so they're gonna sweep it to the back ring.
Yeah, a couple misplays by Fujisawa early. Any rocks behind T-line only helps Team Cameron.
Free guard zone part of the end is now over.
I very much dislike the hit and roll call. I imagine they're going to convince her otherwise.
Yep, every rock and play is your friend right now. Will be the freeze. Got to start building it early because you need 3. Brianna Cullen.
Big opportunity here. Make a freeze onto the rocks in the back. You'll probably see Fujisawa run up and peel the corners, but rocks behind T-line, 2 corner guards, and starting to look okay for Team Cameron here. Big sweep.
Dragging that stone into the front of the 4-foot. Not quite frozen, but great angle. Is there enough of a gap for Satsuki to have a play at that? Punch it through, and she thinks so.
Yeah, I mean, it's bonus if you, as long as you don't jam, if you can pick the yellow that's in the back 4-foot out of the rings on your way by, it's a good opportunity. But like I said before, most likely going to peel corner guard would be my thought.
Yeah, playbook says you're hitting something colored red right now. Which one? And it will be the corner guard. Straight peel, Sam, or do you think she's thinking double clear potentially?
I think just straight peel. Obviously, if it overcurls a little bit. We've had 2 flashes.
Yeah, job 1 hit it.
From the second this game, so job 1 was to just make contact.
So 1 corner guard survives. Could hear the conversation. Kate saying, if we go around the corner now, leave it a little bit high, then exposes the risk of a double and they can get out of the end. And so she's saying 1 more on top of our own here, please, Brianna. Try to force a jam on the center run back and then maybe go around. That's the thinking. It's going to be really close to that center guard. Just going to feather it.
Yeah, missed opportunity there to be sitting second, third, buried behind the center guard.
Nose hits a double here to clear some clutter. As you said on the earlier shot, Sam, Team Fujisawa would not mind at all if on the way by clip the Yellowstone in the back of the 4-foot and just remove every rock out of the rings possible.
Yeah, big opportunity here. Just off nose, eliminate both red stones, and look
Big shove.
like a good opportunity to win the game if this is made.
Blows it by, however. Shot rock survives. Can't get to it with a freeze anymore, though.
Very interesting situation now for Team Cameron. Probably forced to freeze to the back one. I don't think you're going to bring that corner guard into play anymore. Be very difficult. You could draw around the corner guard, they peel, and then you freeze. Then you at least have 3 reds in the rings. Not to talk too fast ahead.
Listening in on all the options, and at the end of it all, it sounds like Kate's call is to draw the stone, freeze the stone in the back of the 8-foot. Not a crazy call if she can wedge one in there. It's all about accumulating stones. They need 3.
Trying to draw around the yellow now, maybe? Just not quite getting as much curl as they wanted. Now team decision for Fujisawa.
Yep, nose yellow, raise double. You're out of the game, but you make a miscue and you're bailing. So big decision coming up. Does look to me like they are thinking about promoting the right hand of the 2 yellow stones as we look at on the left-hand side of our screen. Well, maybe not. Gonna play the left-hand stone instead. Well, that opens things up for sure and definitely reduces the risk of a 3. Hands in the air from the opponent, or from their teammates rather, as they're not out of the woods yet, but certainly much easier paths to remove stones now than there were a moment ago. Nice shot.
Yeah, great shot. Kate Cameron's team now pretty much forced to fit their last 3 stones around this yellow in the top 12. They need to make 3 perfect shots to score 3 here. And get a couple half shots from Fujisawa.
This one is going to need every bit of sweeping, both to get it by the guard and also to get it into shot position. It's going to over curl and feather front. Stays on the rings, but sadly for Team Cameron, lining up a pretty natural nose double. Could also play across the top of the back stone and try and keep the 4-foot open. So a couple of choices here for Satsuki Fujisawa, but regardless, she'll be hitting a red shot. Across the top probably favored Sam if you were able to make a choice.
Yeah, I mean, eliminate both and you win the game.
Exactly.
So whichever one you want to do.
Satsuki Fujisawa trying to lock it up right here. There's one, but stuffs it. So a pulse for Kate Cameron.
Yeah,
One
very
stone survives.
Definitely a big opportunity here. Fujisawa now will have to make a run back to win the game. Kate Cameron just needs to decide whether they want to hit and roll behind the red or draw around the center guards.
Well, knowing that your opponent's going to have to play that run back on the last, how do you make it more difficult with this shot choice, Sam?
Separate the rocks as much as possible. I think if you draw around the center guard, you're just giving her a bigger option for the run back, more than a rock length or a rock width anyway. So make the hit and roll behind the corner guard. Fujisawa will have to make one of the run backs.
So credit to Team Cameron coming into this final end down 3, but they are fighting, and if Kate can execute this well, will force their opponent to make a tricky final stone to win the game.
Yep, looking for this to be buried.
This one's Gonna go straight to nose, however, and that will be a source of relief for Team Fujisawa. Open hit now for the win.
To punch their ticket into the semifinal.
I'm sure that Satsuki is happier to be throwing a direct open hit than having to throw a 6-foot run back to try and clinch. Any contact on that red stone behind the brush will lock it up for Team Fujisawa. Well, you're hearing the comforting call of clean from Shinami Yoshida. That tells us this is well on target, and there it is. And that will clinch the victory for Satsuki Fujisawa and company. They will advance. Well, not too soon. There is still a shot to come, but I do not see a shot for 3 here, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's for your life, so it's worth looking at. But you need to make a split. It could be there.
Well, let's take a look from the overhead. That'll tell us. You're going to have to outcount that stone in the front 12-foot. You're going to have to split that left-hand stone away from the rings and get enough of it on the rings and roll your shooter. I just don't see it. I mean, you got to try it. I agree in this situation. You got to try it, but I just do not see it here.
I think it's there, honestly. If
do you?
I do. I think you can, with enough spin, it's kind of one of those spinner shots. This rock needs to have about 6, 7, 8 rotations. Hit about a quarter of the stone. It might gear effect into the rings and then roll your shooter on. It's very difficult. You basically are tapping this red to the T line and hope it stays biting the 12-foot and then roll your shooter on. Very, very difficult shot, but definitely worth a try.
Well, here we go. So prematurely calling the victory for Fujisawa, thinking that this final stone, mission impossible for Kate Cameron, but Sam thinks it's makeable, and they are certainly going to give it every try. Here's the contact. They got to roll onto the rings. Did as well as they could do, but it's going to spin away.
I was right.
Yeah, it definitely got a piece of the rings, but it was always going to spin away from the rings, unfortunately, because of the contact point. So now it is, in fact, victory for Team Fujisawa, but a great final attempt from Kate Cameron to try and force it into an extra end. She did everything she possibly could with that final stone. But it is victory for Satsuki Fujisawa, Shinami Yoshida, Yumi Suzuki, and Yurika Yoshida. They will advance into the semifinals. What a game, Sam.
Yeah, a great game, a tale of two beginnings. Fujisawa starting off slow in the first 2 ends, but really controlled the game after that. And we look forward to the women's semifinal this afternoon.
So we hope you'll join us for that semifinal, women's event and the men's event at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. And here is your bracket for those semifinals. Team Schwaller, Team Fujisawa, Team Englot, and Team Strauss, your semifinalists at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Thank you so much for joining us. Please come back. We are heading for the exciting playoff games in this women's event. But for now, for Sam Steep, I'm Hans Frauenlob. So long from Swift Current.